All right, we are back with a watch video that is I guess you'd call it a micro brand. You know, spoiler alert right up front, I don't really like this watch. You may like it, so we're going to talk about it and be objective, and I'm going to show you the whole watch just so you're aware, right? So let me zoom back out, show you that it comes with a box, little pillow for the thing, and some paperwork, okay? Normal stuff. Not bad. When I went and looked up this watch online and whatnot, Davosa, this is the Davosa Argonautic Lumis BS. Yeah, just let that sink in, okay? BS stands for Beyond Steel. I didn't do a lot of research on that. But they claim it's some process, something they've injected into the stainless steel to make it as hard as diamonds. Okay. I didn't set it. This is not the right time or date. But that's okay. I digress. So what you have here is about $1,000-ish watch. Swiss movement. It's a Sellita SW200. Fine. There's nothing wrong with the Sellita SW200. It's not the most accurate, but it's like plus or minus 10 seconds a day. Okay. And has about a 38-hour power reserve in general. Okay. Nothing really wrong. Nothing to complain about there. There's really not much to complain about other than the dial. And let's just dive right in. And I'll give you some specs on this thing in a minute. But the dial with that kind of wave pattern in the middle, it really just kind of detracts and distracts me when I look at this. It I don't know. Is it my oversensitivity? Is it I feel like it's going to put me to sleep. It's like a hypnotic type effect. It's one of those images or those GIFs you see on Facebook or Instagram that if you stare at it long enough, all of a sudden, boom, some monster is going to come out at you, or some, spider comes out or something like that. Right. So I don't love the dial. Now, Davosa makes several other watches. They actually make this similar type of watch with just a straight, flat, cream colored type dial. So that would be more to my liking, I think. But I also saw in their lineup, they make a bunch of, and I don't know if this is what they call them or this is what they want them to be known as or what. This is just Dirk talking here. And yes, they sent it to Wrong Time Watch, to his watch group, to get us all to talk about it. So this is a loaner watch from the manufacturer. They can sue me if they like, whatever. But they make a bunch of Rolex homage watches. And I'm not about that. I'm not into the homage, the clone, you name the word. It's not really a clone because they're not marketing it as a Rolex. But when you glance at it for a second or even a minute, it's a copy of a Rolex. So I have a problem with that. That's just me. All right, so let's talk about some specs here. It's 42.5 millimeter case. The lug to lug, to the outside of the lugs is 51 millimeters, but the way the end links are, you're really getting this overall. Let me zoom out just a hair. Jeez, what the hell? Your overall length or width of this is 57.3 millimeter. So you need to have a fairly larger wrist for this to really work well. This isn't going to work so well on your 6.5-inch wrist, give or take. The lug width is 22 millimeters. You can change the strap and put different ones on. The overall thickness is 13.5. It is a flat sapphire crystal with AR coating. Talked about the movement already. It is 300 meter water resistance. The crown, let's talk about the crown in a second. It weighs in, not size for my wrist, but the full bracelet at 7.3 ounces. And yes, I'm not a drug dealer, so I don't really go by grams, but I did the conversion for you guys this time. 207 grams. So it is a bit hefty on the wrist. The crown is 7 millimeters, so it's really easy to get in there and to manipulate. But one thing I think that's just a little odd to me is the crown is not centered in the crown guards. Maybe that's just a me thing, but that just is like an OCD kind of just like, why not? Now, it is still protected all the way around. I think it's protected fine. Like, it's not a functionality issue. It's a feel. When you go to unscrew it, and maybe it works better because of that. I don't know. But it's off center. So you feel it being off center, you see it off center, and it just bothers me a little bit. Okay. It is a 120 click bezel, unidirectional, that I like. Little tiny bit of play, but not bad. Like, it's fine. And it's pretty tactile. With gloves or wet hands, it might be an issue, but that's not a big deal. I did bring out my Seamaster SMP 300 as a quick comparison to this guy because it's about the same size. Now, the crown guards are different, but they're centered. I do wish the crown on the SMP was a little bit bigger. This crown is fairly small and not the most easy to manipulate sometimes because it is so small. So I do wish the crown, again, Omega doesn't make a perfect watch every time either, so I can nitpick the crown size. This does have the helium escape valve, and it works a little different. The helium escape valve here on this one just opens and stops. That's it. This guy opens, and then it pops like a normal crown, and then it can spin freely. Like, I'm not quite sure why. It's just, I've never seen a helium escape valve do that. Now, helium escape valve, what's it for? Why do we want it? Why do we, quote, need it? It's really for professional divers that are down at deep depths in a pressurized environment. So they're in a diving bell or in a submersible where they're pumping in helium to them. The helium molecules are so small that they permeate into the watch, even though the watch is rated at 300 meter water resistance. No water is going to get in, but helium is going to get in. As you surface and you decompress, you need to open this helium release valve to let the helium escape the watch. If not, as you come up, the helium will expand inside and it can damage the internals. It can pop out the crystal. Like, it can be all bad. Now, for us normal, average guys like me, I go down in the water maybe 8 feet in the deep end of the swimming pool, maybe 10 feet. I ain't got to worry about that. Like, what is that, like 3 meters? I'm good. So I don't have to worry. Here it is next to the planet Ocean. Again, very similar-esque just because the 3 o'clock crown and the 10 o'clock helium escape valve. Actually, this is a pretty good comparison kind of back, together. This is 43 and a half. This is 42 and a half millimeters. But yeah, there you go. So now Lume on this thing, this is where, again, I just kind of lose it. Here it is next to my Luminox 911 watch. And I bring this out because this also has tritium tubes. Now, it's not completely dark in here, but it should give you an idea. So as we look at this guy, it looks like the indices are glowing green. There is lume on the pip, and there is lume on the second hand, and maybe at the 3 o'clock. Yes. The rest is tritium tubes that glow so minimally, it's not almost even worth it. I don't understand the point of tritium gas tubes in a watch. If we look at this 911 watch, it's Luminox. Again, there's lume on the 9 and the 11. And then you've got tritium tubes around the indices. And we turn it off, and I think it is just the lume on the 9 and the 11, not even on the seconds hand. There is some lume that you see, or there is some glowing that you see through a tritium tube, but it has to be pitch black, and your eyes have to adjust. You're not going to be out somewhere at the movies necessarily, watching a movie, glance down at your wrist, and necessarily be able to see it all because it's still bright in the movie theater. Your eyes are adjusted to the screen. So I personally don't see the reasoning behind tritium tubes on watches. Now, I did not even size this bracelet, so this is not going to give you the ultimate look. But here it is on my 7¼ inch wrist. I mean, it works, but I wouldn't go much smaller than a 7 or a 7¼ inch wrist to wear this, because much smaller and the watch is going to be bigger than your wrist. It will look fine once you size it. It's a good looking watch, the case and everything. I just don't like that dial. So just to give you kind of a look, here is my S&P 300, also 42, that is sized for my wrist, on the awesome rubber deployant clasp. In my opinion, only way to wear this watch. I don't like the steel bracelet, although I have one. I don't like the tang and buckle, this normal style rubber strap for this, although I have one, but it was worth every penny of the $500 for these 2 pieces of rubber and that one clasp. Yes, if you want this, it's $250 for the rubber and it's $250 for the clasp. And in my opinion, worth every single penny. Okay, and just because I have it out here, how about the 43.5 millimeter Planet Ocean that is also sized for my wrist? This particular one is one of the only Planet Oceans that has a lumed bezel. And if I can hit it with the UV light, let's see if I can show that just real quick. You can kind of see there's some lume there. Again, it's not dark outside. I film when I can, and you get what you get. So, all in all, this is not for me. Maybe it's for you. Let me know in the comments down below if this is for you or if it's not. And let me know your thoughts on tritium tubes versus standard luminosity. Thanks, guys.